Hey guys, my name's Wildcard, and welcome back to my channel. Now, I need to calm down just a little bit, okay? I am getting too upset over the Melbourne Chockers, and I think I just need to take a little bit of breather and just, look at things from the positive way, okay? I have to restart this video a couple times already. Okay, positive thing. Super Rugby, Round 9, Rebels versus Brumbies in Melbourne. Now, the Rebels came out this week trying to rectify their gutless decision-making from last week, which they were criticized for, from just taking the soft option every time they had a penalty. Instead of pushing for a try, they were opting for penalty goals to just try to chip away the points. So this week, they came out to try to rectify that problem and try to push for tries. And they did do that for most of the game until when the crunch came, 10 minutes to go, the Rebels were behind by 9 points. They were right in front, about 5 meters away from scoring. The Rebels opted for the penalty goal. Once again, when the pressure piled on, when it's time to squeeze, the crunch time came in, the Rebels went for the soft option. Just complete chokers. And again, if you make decisions like that, you don't deserve to win, I guess. They tried really hard to win the game. They took the game into, past the 80th minute. But if you had an opportunity to score 10 minutes prior and you took the soft option. Now you try to recover the points that you needed in lost time, basically. The chokers, man. And what is going on in the Melbourne Rebels? Okay, I noticed this as well. So Nice Arami came back, right? Nice Arami came back, and he had he's coming off the bench. And look at this. I took a photo. Right, look at this. Let's see if we can get this. Hang on. Let me see if we can get this in shot. Okay, that's Nice Arami, right? Look at his numbers. Someone's printed a wrong number on his jersey. So someone clearly just printed clearly printed a 1 onto the jersey, right? And then they realized, oh, he's not playing number 1. He's actually playing 21. So they went ahead, just put another 2 next to it. So his numbers are just clearly off-centered. Oh, what's going on there? The Rebels, what is happening? How do you mess this up? You just have to print the numbers onto the jerseys, and you print the wrong number onto the jersey, and then you have to put a 2 next to it to make it correct. Oh, what's going on? Nice Arami plays number 8. He doesn't play prop. Okay, if he was a substitution prop, okay, maybe I can understand. Maybe he was gonna start at number 1, and then they change his position after the number's been printed. So then they have to put a 2 next to it. But he doesn't play number 1. He plays number 8. So how did this happen? How could someone print another 2 number 1 jerseys and then realizing they made a mistake and put a 2 next to Nice Arami's jersey? It's just beyond me. It's so funny. His jersey just completely off-centered. Anyway, what's going on down in Melbourne? I have no idea, right? What is happening? I have no idea. What are they doing down there? I don't know. But at least they came out this week, tried to play better than last week, okay? They tried. But the Brumbies is a good team. And again, rugby is one of those games, if you make the soft decisions, you are going to be punished. Because a lot of the times, when the teams are under pressure, they want you to take 3 points. And the Rebels had an opportunity to score at 70th minute, opted for the penalty kick. When they're in prime position to score points and potentially put Brumbies into yellow cards because they were literally it was back-to-back offsides, 2 or 3 offsides in a row, and Rebels opted for the soft option. And, that's rugby. That's why rugby is one of the best games in the world, right? It is the best game in the world because if you choose to take it easy on your opponent, the opponent will punish you. And you lost because you, once again, decided to take the soft option instead of going for a try when you really, really, really need it. God, the Rebels. Calm down. Okay, let's go from the start. Okay? So the first half was an absolute, I guess, what you might say, slaughterfest for the Brumbies. So right from the start, the Rebels came out, obviously wanting to score a try to show to their fans at home they can score a try. So right from the start, the Rebels actually did really well. Built some phases, really smooth play, and they built to a try right away, 7 minutes in. Hansen crashes over after repeatedly pounding the try line, crashes over for the first try for Melbourne. Tamura converts 7 points to 0, and then it looks like game on, right? Like Melbourne's matching up to the Brumbies. And the Brumbies, started to fight back themselves. 16 minutes in, Brumbies start fighting back basically right after this try. Brumbies start fighting back, and it's just like the Rebels, they just put Rebels under so much pressure, and the Rebels were just constantly infringing, trying to defend this Brumbies. So Brumbies went for the line out. A more came in. They actually went over for a try for Fainga'a, but then they watched the replay. He actually knocked the ball on while he was in the maul. So they called it back, and then they went for so Rebels did for a scrum, but they weren't it wasn't clean. So Powell got pushed out, so he didn't actually get the ball out. He got tackled out of the line. So the Brumbies had another 5-minute line out again. So they went for another maul, and then there was more penalties, and then there was a yellow card given for a repeatedly penalty to Corambetti, who got sent off for 10 minutes. And they were just piling pressure. And the referee was like, I'm going to send you down to 13 if you don't, stop these, stop infringing. And then I think, and then basically the Rebels were just giving a penalty. Eventually, they crumbled with Corambetti in the bin. The Brumbies did another maul. And instead of Fainga'a, this guy named Scott, I think he's debuting. He wears a headgear and he looks kind of like David Pocock. They call him the little Pocock or something. But yeah, he looks like David Pocock playing his first game. Goes secure the ball at the back of the maul. Back of the rock, the rolling maul, yes. And then they roll in for the try, right? And then so Brumbies strikes back 7 points, 16 minutes into the game, and the Brumbies just kept on the pressure for the next 20 minutes, pounding the Rebels line. And the Rebels were just holding on. And then eventually the Rebels were able to hold on for 10 minutes without conceding a try. But it was getting really close for another yellow card. The referee was just you're repeatedly offside, your player's offside. You were just, you got to stop that. And so 10 minutes later, the Rebels weren't actually held on and not scored, letting Brumbies score a try. So Corambetti comes back on the field. Brumbies were still at it. So Brumbies went for another line out. And they come in for the maul. And Rebels really wanted to make sure that they don't score again on the line out. So they just sacked the Brumbies line out a little bit too early. So they basically sacked the line out before the jumper, the ball receiver landed. And then the referee's okay, one more penalty, someone's going to the bin. And then Brumbies went for the same move again. Another line out. And then Rebels did the exact same thing. They tackled the player in the air who received the ball. And then they just referee just all right, another yellow card. So Rebels goes off another yellow. As soon as Corambetti comes back, they're down to 14 players again for another yellow card. And then you're just man. And then right away there was 2 more offsides, and the referee's just all right, one more, we're sending more people down in the bin. They probably could have sent out more people at that point because it was getting a little bit ridiculous. Just back-to-back offsides, back-to-back more penalties. But eventually, somehow in a miracle, Rebels were able to, I think there was a scrum. They had a scrum for knock on. And then Rebels were able to, no, not a scrum. Eventually, there was a maul, right? Brumbies went for a maul. And they got too excited. So they were pushing them more. The Rebels kind of like pushing them more, like holding on. And then the Brumbies just like send in all their backs. Not all the backs, like a couple of the backs came in. So the Lolosio came in. I think that the winger came in as well. Might be Tom Banks. Might be not Tom Banks. I think might be Tom. What's his name? I think might be the other one. Tom Wright. I think it might be Tom Wright. But anyway, so the Brumbies really try to get this more in for a try. So start sending in their backs in, and then the halfback, which was is Lonergan starting today. So the Nick White's on the bench. So Lonergan, instead of waiting out in the back ready to get the ball out, he went into the maul as well. So like the Brumbies had half the back line in the maul, the whole front row of forwards in the maul, and then like the Rebels just split the maul in half. And the thing is, when your halfback should not have gone in. That was a big mistake by Lonergan, because basically the Rebels were able to split the maul in half, and then just smother the ball. And then the referee's like, use it. You got to get the ball out. They're not going anywhere. And the halfback is in the maul, so he wasn't able to get himself out and get the ball out. And then Rebels actually turn over the ball. So they actually, like, by a miracle, not to concede a try, after like 20 minutes of getting like just hammered on their own line and getting like 2 yellow cards, right? In like back-to-back yellow cards. So it was actually really good effort from the Rebels. And the Brumbies maul did look like it wasn't as clinical as they were from previous weeks, because I'm guessing they are putting on a few new players onto the field. So the Brumbies are playing a fresher team. So not as clinical as they were, but still like quite dominant compared to the Rebels 4-pack. So anyway, the Rebels were able to get out of jail. And then right away, right, there was a... who was it? Yeah, right away. So the Rebels were kind of got out of jail, and then the Brumbies, they cleared the ball out, and then the Brumbies just started like, and then it was almost like the Rebels just like dropped the intensity after holding onto the line with one person in the bin. They just like dropped the intensity, and the Brumbies just got the ball from halfway and started running back, and then they just like quite a few good offloads. And a few players just did some really good hard running, like Alatoa did some really good hard running. They came right back within the Melbourne try line again, like 5 minutes out after like only like 3 or 4 faces, straight back into the Melbourne try line. And then there was a mismatch. Neville, the big number 5, I think, from the Brumbies. Neville, he's a big guy. I think he's a second rower, number 5 or 6. He just like ran into basically a mismatch in the Rebel side, who was, I think, number 14. The outside winger was there. So there was a guy that was like 130 kilos against a guy that's like 90 kilos, right? I just ran him over for a try. So right away, like all that defense was nullified in like a minute when Rebels just like fell apart, right? So 35 minutes in, Rebels just, letting a try that they were desperately holding on for the last 20 minutes. Anyway, a few minutes later, there was a kickoff. Rebels were attacking again. And like once again, the Brumbies put some pressure on the defense. And the Rebels did a loose pass. And the ball like bounced off the Rebels' hand and went up in the air. And the Brumbies guy recovered. I think it was not Tom Banks. I think it was one of the other backs. Brumbies recovered. But anyway, the Brumbies recovered, and then they just did a quick ball out to the wing with Tom Wright on the wing. And Tom Wright, and there was like no one in front of him, because all the Rebels were attacking. They weren't expecting the ball to go loose, so there was no fullback. And Tom Wright just ran 50 meters down the line, scored a second try. And on the halfway point, Lolosio missed the conversion. Brumbies 19 points to the Rebels 7. The Rebels did really well holding on for most of the first half. And when they finally back to like parity, right? Well, not back to parity, but when they finally like got themselves out of trouble, they just like letting 2 tries in 5 minutes basically. And they just really let themselves down in the end of the first half. Second half started, Rebels came out and they're just like, all right, we're gonna have to fix this. We're not gonna go down again. 2 minutes in, right away, Powell, the halfback, gets like a really good individual try where he just like basically he just like fought his way through. 2 minutes in, Rebels comes back for a try. Tamura converts Melbourne back to 14 points to 19, right? Brumbies. And a few minutes later, Brumbies strikes back. 51 minute. So like 10 minutes later. 51 minute. Kunzel goes in for a try for Brumbies. They just, again, putting on pressure on Rebels again. Going for, and put themselves in for a try. And that's 20. And then Lolosio converts. And that's 26 points. And that was the last point the Brumbies scored. And at this point, the Brumbies bench came on. So like, Nick White came on. A lot of the other players got subbed out. So like, yeah, the Brumbies has had this issue in the past few weeks as well, where they're not able to, like, they do really well in the first half, and second half they're just like massive dropping off. And it's pretty much the same case here. They had everything going for them in the first half. Like, it was so one-sided in the first half. And second half, the last point was scored at 53rd minute. And that was it. And that's the only try they scored in the second half. But anyway, the Rebels were able to like apply some pressure. And so for the remainder 30 minutes of the game or so, there was a lot of kicking. Like, neither teams wanted to play inside their own half. And neither teams were able to apply pressure, in like constant pressure. So there was a lot of back and forth kicking for literally 20-30 minutes. A majority of the second half was just like, run. Okay, we're not going anywhere. Kick. And the kicks weren't that great. There were a few kicks was just terribly bad. Like, Nick White had a kick where he was just like, it literally went, it went like less than 10 meters when he did one of the box kicks he did. It was just terrible. And then Lolosio as well. He did a box kick, right? Where the ball went, so there was like an advantage line. So imagine if, I don't know, like Brumbies were running up, right? And their players got tackled here, right? So Lolosio kind of hangs back to make the box kick or whatever. He got the ball and he did the box kick and the ball landed shorter than the advantage line. Like, how do you make like such a bad kick? How can you kick the ball, like, and it didn't even go, didn't even get past the advantage line? Oh, it was just terrible kicks. And there was like a few kicks from the Brumbies where he just went straight out the sideline. It didn't outside of their own 22, the ball just went straight out, so they have to go back to where he kicked it. And it was just, it was really, really like, poor performance from the Brumbies. And it was not that great from Rebels either. Like, their kicks weren't great, but it wasn't nearly as bad as some of the Brumbies kicks. So there was like, neither teams weren't going anywhere for literally like 20 minutes. And finally the Rebels were able to build some pressure, right? There was 10 minutes left. Rebels were able to get in. I think this might even be where like Brumbies were something like literally because like the Brumbies had some like technical penalty. There was like a technical penalty where the Brumbies tried to do a maul inside the Rebels 40, just inside the Rebels 40, and then they just like accidentally obstructed their own play. So they sent the ball back before the maul was formed or something like that. So there was like an obstruction in the maul against the Brumbies. So Rebels had a good attacking opportunity. They kicked the ball out. They were like 20 minutes out, and the Brumbies were like going backward on the back foot. And then there was repeated penalties against Brumbies, two offsides, and the Rebels, okay, we're going for I think they went for another line out. And then again, another 2 offsides, straight on back against the Rebels, and the referee's like, any more, you go into the bin. And this is like 71st minute, right? 71st minute, 10 minutes left. The Rebels are down by 9 points, right in front of the goal, like about 5 meters, just, less than 10 meters away from scoring a try, right? So this is where you go for the try. You have all the advantage against on your side. If there's any more penalties, the Brumbies would have got a yellow card, and they have to play for the rest of the game with one person in the bin. And the Rebels decides to go for the 3. Yeah, I get it. You needed like a converted. You need like a converted try plus 3 more points to beat the Brumbies. And you wanted to bank you 3 points now and then try to score the try for the next 10 minutes. But this is momentum. You have momentum here. The Brumbies are on the back foot. They are on like multiple penalty warnings. And you are 10 meters out from your try line from scoring a try. And again, the pressure piled on. The Rebels opted for the soft option. They did like pretty well for the entire game. They opted for the... I don't even know what to say. Like, you deserve to not win that. Like, what can you say? You literally had everything going for you. And you had no guts. When this is literally the one time you needed to make the decision to score the try. This is where you score the try. And you decided to take the soft option. You decided to... Hey, let's take the easy option. Let's go for the easy way out. Like, just really, really bad attitude. Like, really, really poor attitude from the Rebels. And, like, I don't understand how you could make that decision. Every time when you're under pressure, not even under pressure, every time when you needed to, like, gut out something, like, you know, make a play and put in a try, when you really, really need it, you just, like, we'll take the 3. And I'm sure the Brumbies team were, like, cheering for you on the bench for that one. Because, like, what a pressure relief. You take 3 points, sure, instead of 7 or sending one of our guys into the bin for the rest of the game. I'll take that point anytime. And sure enough, the Rebels were, again, for the rest, another 10 minutes, both teams went back to the kicking. And they were playing super safe. Again, Brumbies were playing super safe. Rebels were playing super safe. Both trying to keep the ball in the opposition half. And eventually there was, eventually the Brumbies actually had the ball, okay? So Brumbies had the ball inside the Rebels half at one point. And they were just outside the 22, like with about a minute and a half to go. And the Brumbies, again, they showed like, maybe, I don't know what's going on with the Brumbies here. The second half performance was definitely not as clinical. So there was 1 minute left, like a minute and just a little bit left. They're at the 22 meter mark. So what they should have done is like run the clock down to about 30 seconds left, another 30 seconds, less than a minute, and then you go for a drop goal. And then the time will run out when the ball comes back, right? And they'll have to, after you do the drop goal, they have to do a 22 dropout anyway for the ball back to you. So that's kind of like the strategy you should have been going for. But anyway, they kind of like rushed it. So they were like, they had a lot of Seals sitting back in the pocket looking for a drop goal with a minute and a half left. And the ball was really slow. So they didn't get fast ball. So all the forwards are piling in. You took a while for the ball to come back. And then Nick White gets the ball. He throws a pass. The ball didn't even get to Lolosio. Like the worst pass I've seen. Like from Nick. Like what's going on with Nick White? Like is he just like not informed or something? Like is he just having a bit like he's having a terrible game this game, by the way, Nick White. It just like his kickings were terrible. And this pass was like one of the worst passes I've ever seen. He tried to pass the ball back to Lolosio for a drop goal. The ball didn't even get to Lolosio. He bounced on the ground and rolled towards Lolosio. And Lolosio had to pick the ball up off the ground. And then when he tried to do that, there was like 3 people already running in front of him. And then Lolosio and then Lolosio like just knocks the ball on. And then he just like, alright. And then Rebels like, yeah, alright, we'll take the scrum. It was so bad. Anyway, so the Rebels got the ball back with about a minute to go at the halfway point. And then they start running. They're not going anywhere. And then there was like 10 seconds left, right? Rebels drop the ball. And then the hooter goes up. Hooter goes off with the scrum to the Brumbies. And you're just thinking, yeah, okay, that's all the Brumbies have to do is kick the ball out. And like I was watching this thinking to myself as well, right? So like this is it. You just do the scrum, kick the ball out, you win the game. Brumbies I don't know what is happening with their team. Like in the second half with the Brumbies, they pulled the whole team into the massive huddle. Okay, literally the clock is past the 80 minute, and it's a scrum, and they pulled the whole team in for a massive huddle. They had a team chat before this play for some reason. Okay, and you can tell like something's going on with the team, with the Brumbies at this point. So they had everyone in for a team chat, and the ref was like, "Yeah, come on, let's do the scrum, let's finish this game." And they come back for the scrum, and you wouldn't believe it. What do they even talk about in the chat? I don't know. Let's keep playing. I don't know what they're talking about. Something stupid, obviously, because the Brumbies loses the tight hair scrum feed. Their scrum got demolished. Nice team chat. Did you talk about how not to lose the game? What did you talk about? You just had a chat with your whole team. Like, what happened? Did you just give everyone sleeping pills whilst you're in the huddle? What the hell happened? They just lost the scrum feed. And then the Rebels are looking like they're gonna score again with the clock is running red, right? What the hell happened? Why did you have a team chat huddle just for that last play? Why did you have a huddle? What? And then despite the huddle, you went in half-heartedly into the scrum and lost the scrum. What did you talk about? I really want to know. If someone watching this, was in that huddle, let me know what you talked about. Because whatever that is, it's just the stupidest thing I have ever freaking seen, right? It was so dumb. So they had a chat, and then, anyway, Rebels wins the tight head, full-on penalty. Rebels kick the ball out, and they have the score. Brings the ball back in, brings the line out in, start running the ball again, and then, you could have done this 10 minutes ago, Rebels. Now you try to do another score try 10 minutes later. What did you think is going to happen? What did you think was going to happen? And in fact, this line out was, instead of at a 5-meter line, you could have had it 10 minutes ago. You had to do this line out at the 22-meter line, right? So you're going to have to run 22 meters to score a try. Eventually, the Rebels loses the ball and drops the ball. Game over. Brumbies won. Maybe that's what they were talking about in the team in the team huddle leading up to the final scrum. Hey, let's see if we can hold on to this for another 5 minutes and force a knock on, and then maybe then we can win the game. So we don't have to do the kick. Maybe that's what they wanted. They didn't want to do the kick. They just want to do another huddle. And anyway, I forgot the Kunzel try at 51 minutes from the Brumbies. I remember now. There was again Rebels were under a lot of pressure. The Brumbies actually did a kick into the Rebels 22. And Matt Tamura, are you is he having fitness issues or something? Tamura is not in form. He was just jogging back slowly to try to get the ball. And then the Brumbies chasers were really up on him. So Tamura, as soon as he get the ball, the tackler was right in front of him. So Tamura had to basically rush the kick as he was getting tackled. I don't know why. Is he just out of shape or something? What's going on with Tamura? And he rushed the kick, and the kick hit one of the Melbourne Rebels guys on the face. His own teammate on the face. And the ball landed on the ground. Brumbies recovered. There was a wide open space out wide. They threw the ball out to Kunzel, and then he just scored. That's how the 4 tries scored for the Brumbies. A forced error from the Melbourne. So 3 tries were scored from the Brumbies because of errors from Melbourne from the Rebels. And Corin Betty still haven't scored a single try this season. He plays like a forward for some reason. So I don't know. Maybe he wants to play maybe he wants to play open side flanker. Maybe they should do that. Put him open side flanker. He doesn't get the ball anyway. He only gets the ball. He goes into the rocks and picks and drive and stuff. And he does pretty well, pick and driving. But he doesn't really get the ball out wide. All right, Tamura and people are not really utilizing him in actual space. He's in there pick and driving like a forward. Why don't they just put him at number 7? Chokers. Absolute chokers. Anyway, that's my take for the game. Thank you for watching, guys. And if you like this, I don't know. If you like this, thumbs up. If you don't like this, thumbs down. Subscribe, yada, yada, yada. Thank you for watching. See you guys next time. Cheers.